So this is easy, and I have a plugin you'll be able to download, and it'll be in a zip file, and it'll be below the video if you want to try this. I'm going to go to Lightbox here, and I got it in my project folders, and I got it over here. Okay, this is why you can see this. What I did was I extracted the zip file to my desktop, which left a folder. You right click the folder and create a shortcut. Then once you create a shortcut, you right click that folder again and press cut. Then you're going to paste it over here in the Z project. This is where you see mine at here. Anytime that I edit anything in here on my desktop, it'll automatically update in my Z project folder. So, and if you don't understand that, you'll just have to manually go to the Z script and load this. So either way you prefer. So I'm going to double click this. I have a large IMM and a small, and I have this ZBR right here. This is the cube. So we're going to get started with the script. We're going to go with large. Double click that, and we're going to drag up here like this. And then we're going to have a bunch of buttons right here. Now these buttons got numbers in front of them. Number 1, number 2, number 3, and then we're going to go over number 4, which is going to be a set of these buttons over here, X and Z. The number 5. These are going to be done in order, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And I have the auto group, and some of these other buttons I'll go over later. These are utilities. All right. Then we're going to load the cube here, and it's facing towards me. And if it's not what you like, and because I'm using a different screen resolution, you can adjust it however you want. But always make sure that it is snapped by holding the shift key facing directly towards you. If this is what you like, what you need to do is go to File, Save As, and overwrite this one here. Okay, once you overwrite that one there and you press Cube, it'll load for you. Now through the video I will be pausing on and off just to let you know in advance. One little note about saving this cube here. If we turn on move here, you want to have it face directly like this. You want the X facing to the left and the blue facing towards you. Alright, you don't want to be moving this around and saving it like this. Alright, you want to have it just like this. Hold the shift key. Another thing we need to do, if you don't have it on, is the floor grid. We need to keep an eye on the colors down here. So without the floor grid on, we're not going to be able to see it. So just turn the floor grid on and hold it down here. And you know the Alt key, move it up and down wherever you want. Scale it. Just make sure it's snapped towards you and the axes are correct before you save it. Alright, what this script does is going to create IMM Boolean brushes. Alright, if we go to the brushes and we're going to just select just an IMM brush here. These might be some brushes that you made in an earlier version of ZBrush. These do not make good IMM brushes. Okay, I'm going to show you an example. We'll select this screw head here, and then we're going to drag it out. And hold the shift key so it's in the direct axis there. And we're going to open up subtools here. Then I'm going to press split, and when I do this, it's going to split it apart, and it's going to put it in Boolean mode. So you'll see it add another subtool. So let's go ahead and start with number 1, and then we're in Boolean mode. If we drag this out, this looks nothing like the screw head. All right, no matter which Boolean I set, you can see it doesn't work. Set it back to the original one. Alright, so what we need to do is we need to push this to the other side of the cube. Alright, and we're going to drag it here. Now it still does not look like the screw head here. Alright, but this is what I want. Alright, so let's go ahead and turn on transparency, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold the shift key and snap it. And I'm going to drag this back inside the cube where the rest of it's not popping out to the side. We can use this utility or just manually pop it through ourselves, or this left arrow, just keep on clicking it till it pops through. I clicked it, it popped through. I like to give it an extra click just to make sure. And I did that, and I'll turn transparency off. And there it is. You can manually do it, or you can use these buttons. It don't matter. So now I'm ready for step number 2. So we'll press here, and this is going to make a Boolean mesh, and it's going to create it and also select it. As you can see, I got 2 subtools. When I select it, I will have 1. Alright, now this is polygroup. Control Shift click. Control Shift click and invert that, and this is what I want. Now we go to step number 3. Okay, this is copying it. Okay, this is copying this here. And then we're going to go to step number 4, which is going to be these X and Z buttons. Normally it's this Z one up here, and then we're going to select it here for this demonstration, and then you can see they got this tube right here with a mesh on the left here and a flat spot on the other side. What side has the edited mesh would be the left side. Okay, so what we want to do, if the mesh is on the left, we press this left button. When we do that, it mirrored it to the other side and welded it. So we're going to go ahead and create one more. We're going to have 2 types, so we're going to duplicate this, and so we can just see what's going on with one subtool. We'll turn on solo, click that, and then we're going to go, since we selected the top Z, more likely it's going to be the bottom Z. So we'll click here, and it's going to look like everything's flipped, and it's going to look kind of abnormal. This is what I want. Okay, what side is the edited mesh on? It's on the right side this time, so we'll press right, and we get something like this. Now, like I said, think of everything kind of backwards in this, because this is the way it works. You can see the blue axis of Z was facing towards me. I want it to face backwards, because I'm going to make an IMM brush. Alright, so the blue's backwards, and the red is to the right. Alright, so you can kind of see right here. Blue is to the back, and red is to the right. Hold the shift key and snap that, and turn solo back off. Then we're going to go ahead and create a brush. So we're going to click here. Since we have 2 subtools, we're going to create a instant multiple mesh, not the single mesh over here. So we select here, and we got our 2 brushes here. Alright, now we need to test this. Well, let's load the cube up, and we're going to drag our first one out. Hold the shift key so it's snapping in direct axis. Go to step number 1 so we can check out our Boolean, see how this brush is going to work. Alright, this one is the one that is popping out. Okay, this does not look like the screw head, but just in case you want that one, you have this one. And it works on both sides of the screen. Move back here, and it pops back through. And it also don't look like screw head on this side either, so you can see right there. If we go ahead and turn the transparency on, the width of this cylinder depends how far this thing is going to get inserted. This is why it's a long cylinder. So the one I want to select is the other one, so it looks like the screw that I want. So we'll select this one here, and it should update, and I may need to move it a little bit. As you can see right there, there's our screw head, and it can be inserted with a screwdriver. This makes a good IMM brush versus the one that I started with. And this one can also be popped back to the other side if you also. So you have to go a little bit further. And drag this down a little bit here so I can select my gizmo and bring that up a little bit more. And you can have it like that. Alright, let's check out one of the IMM Boolean brushes here. So we'll go to IMM right here, and we'll select this one here. Drag out here. Let's open up our subtools, check everything going to split this, and we're going to drag it out, and you can see you don't look nothing like that one there because everything is backwards. Alright, get in the habit of pushing this through every time you make one to the opposite side. Alright, if you do this every time, be less error. Alright, remember the last time I was saying so it pops through and you can't see it anymore? Well, this case is going to be different, okay? Something you have to experiment with. So I turn on the transparency. What's in the cube stays in the cube, alright? I want to try to keep it about the thickness of this right here. So I'm going to put it right here. And that's somewhat about the thickness right there. It's a must to turn the transparency off. Then we're going to take a look at everything right here. Then we're going to step number 2. Then we get something like this. And we're going to click here. And you can see I want to keep these here in the center, but it's all one group. This is why we got the auto group here. And if we click, we should be able to keep this up here real quick. This is what I want right here. So we copy this. That was number 3. We copied that. When you select these buttons, it's like I said, it's usually this top right Z button. If you happen to select anything different, you can still switch through them all and select the ones that you think might work. So the mesh is on the left side, so we're going to weld on the left side. And we're going to do something like this. And like I said, everything backwards, so the blue axis is going to be facing behind us, not towards us. I'm going to frame this up and make sure it's snapped directly at you. Then this one here, we're going to go ahead and select here. This time we're going to create just a insert brush here. Press new. And let's give this thing a try. Let's load the cube. Drag out. Step 1 to split. Go into Boolean mode. And sometimes you got to drag way out a little bit further than normal. As you can see there, that one inside there that's inserted represents the one that I started from, or from the IMM Boolean brush. Let's go ahead and move that, and you can see I can go in further without nothing messing up. And I'll come out and just drag it to wherever you want. And like I said, you can go in the back of the mesh too. This is the one I created. I'm going to go back into move mode here. And you can see how this one looks. This is the new one. You have to go back to the old one here and select it. Let's move here. Give it a second to update. You may need to cycle through these to get it going here. Scale it down. They look totally different. This one looks nothing like this one here, and the one that I custom made looks just like it. Okay, I'm going to make a custom one over here. This will work on most any object, even imported. Some objects might not work very well. Maybe the helix probably wouldn't work very well. Some you got to experiment, but we're going to make one with a gear here, and we're going to drag this out, and I'm going to show you how to make this one here. We're going to turn the floor grid on, and this time we're going to have to remember 2 things. We're going to be cutting in the red axes, alright? The other thing is, when I split this, I'm always going to keep the object on the right. I'll show you what I mean here in a second. For me to cut this, I'm going to select it and hold the screen and shift click this. And as you can see, the red axis is pointing towards me and behind me, and the blues to the right. And notice I did not have to turn the gizmo to turn this around. I just turn this by the screen and snap it like that. Alright, for this to work, we're going to have to make this a Polymesh 3D. Then I'm going to go ahead and Control Shift, hold it down, then we're going to have the brush over here. And we got this slice rect and slice curve. These slice curves will actually go through triangles and leave a straight edge. This is what you want to use. Alright, this is one option. We're going to select here, polyframes, and I want to drag up. And I want to keep the right side. Remember, always keep the right side. I want to keep it about half. If I'm not sure, keep it a little bit to the right, okay? Because once you insert something, you can only see one half anyway. So once I did that, it polygrouped it, and I'll be able to select that. And I didn't get quite in the middle, but I got close. So that was one option that you can do. Let's Control Z that. Alright, let's go ahead and just make this Polymesh 3D, and let's see another way that we can do this. With it facing this way, what I'm going to do is activate the gizmo, select the gear, and use the extender. This makes it a whole lot easier. And I'm just going to drag out just a little bit, and it's going to split it right in half. And it's also going to polygroup it. And then we're going to select the gear again and press accept. And since it's polygroup, I'll be able to select this. Here, well, actually I'll just go like this, make it a whole lot easier. And we get this. Alright, the next step is we want to go ahead and copy this. Alright, and notice we skipped 1 and 2. We're doing something different here. We're making it from the custom 2. So we're going to copy this, because we're going to go and select these buttons over here. These buttons, these X and Z's, they actually end up pasting this object back. And if you're unsure which one to select, you can just select one. If one don't work for you, select another one. Simple as that. And we really want this inverted like this, okay? This is the one that you really want, even though it looks all flipped up and you'd think that you'd want this one. But you don't. You want this one here. So the edit mesh is on the left side here, so we're going to weld the left. And remember, when I turn this around to make it a brush, the blue axis is going to be front to back. Alright, snap it. Then the red axis is going to be to the right. See, the blue front to back axis, the red axis to the right. So we're going to go ahead and create a insert brush. Press new. And I did something just to show you how to fix something by mistake. And I'll show you here in just a second. So let's test this out. Press the cube. Drag this out. And press split. Alright. Kind of what I wanted, but I didn't want that cylinder to slide up and down that cylinder. So this is not what I wanted. Alright. I didn't want that cylinder in the middle. So without having to redo everything, remember we pressed copy, we need to paste that back. So we're going to select the star here, geometry, and without having to start all over and go down to modify topology, it's called paste and replace. And there we go. Now if I want to edit that mesh, which I need to, I'm going to go ahead and select here. Since I'm going to be zooming in, I need a brush size small. And I'm going to select the mother. I'm going to try moving over a edge, right click. Get a little bit closer. Okay, the edit is up. We want to close that and concave. Go here and get to an edge. A little tricky, and there we go. This time you You can, if you want to move that back to make it more inserted, you can. Mask that, and we'll just drag that, invert the mask, and drag that back a little bit. Oops. Let me try that again. Alright, let's clear the mask, and I got it kind of back a little bit. And that's what I want. Alright, now I know I copied it once. Since I edited the mesh, I'm going to have to copy it again. I'm going to press copy. And the reason I did that, because these buttons over here, X and Z's, they end up pasting this back. This is what runs the script. And if you're not sure which one to select, you can just pop through these, and you can see the X didn't work on the top, and more than likely the X on the bottom ain't going to work. So it's either going to be now the Z. I know it's going to be the Z. So it's this Z. Alright. This is the one with the flip mesh. This is the one that you might think, no, I don't want that one because it don't look right. And you might select this one and say, well, that one looks right. Well, no, actually it's not. It's kind of backwards. Like I said, think of everything backwards in here. So we want to go ahead and select that one to invert it. Alright, the edit mesh is on the left side, and we want to weld on the left. And we get that. And once again, keep in mind, we want the blue, we're going to hold the screen, blue axis is going to the back to the front, and the red axis is going to the right. If you can't see that, I'll bring it up here like this. Well, this one's got twisted around, but anyway, on the screen one, it is the blue to the back and the red to the right. So let's go ahead and create an insert brush. Press new. And let's test this out. Drag that out like that. Go into Boolean mode so we can test this out. And this is what I wanted. Alright. Like I said, you can go through the other side of the mesh if you want to, for both sides. Scale that up a little bit. Once done, make it a Boolean mesh. Now it's triangulated, and remember that brush I was telling you about, the I don't know what I did there, but oh boy. Oh, there it is. I flipped it around, sorry, got all scared there, thought I hit something, but anyway, I think I flipped the screen around. Alright, let's get back to where I was at. Now when I have the control shift click here, and we want to select this one here, and we're going to drag up here, and we're going to cut a line right through here, and it polygrouped it. And control shift click and invert it. Since everything is flipped and you can't see everything, we're going to go down to the display properties and press double. Let's take a look in, and this is what we get inside the box. A little recap here for a little troubleshooting. I'm going to turn on the gizmo here. As you can see, I got the red axis to the left, the green one on top, and the blue one facing towards me. Alright, that is the same as the one on the floor grid. We want to pay attention only the one on the floor grid, because if you move this gizmo, everything will be out of whack. So if I was to select here and just turn it here, now the floor grid red axis is aligned with the blue gizmo. So when you do that, things get out of whack. So Let's Control Z that back. And we want to pay attention only to the floor grid when we cut things in half. So if we want to cut something in half, it will be on the red axis. So it'll be like this. Alright. The red axis will be front to back. Alright. I'm not going to, well, I'm going to snap it, but you ain't going to see it, so I'm going to have to turn a little bit. So the red axis will be front to back. You snap it forward towards you. Then the blue one will be to the right. Right? You can move the screen instead of the gizmo, or taking the gizmo and turning the object. So you can move the screen like this and shift and snap that instead of using the gizmo to turn it. Then when you cut this mesh in half, you always want to keep the mesh on the right side. It's usually, you will see the blue axis on the floor grid here will be to the right. Like I said, red front to back and the blue one to the right. So when you cut it in half, keep the right side. Another thing is some of the buttons will not work, and when you find out that's the case, it's usually something happened and you turned it with the gizmo. Let me open this back up real quick. Pause the video. So if you turn something with the gizmo, and these buttons ain't working like they should, you're probably going to have to do some adjusting to figure out what it is. Alright. You can see the star here. If I was to split it on the axis, I would have the right side of the star and left side, and basically I would probably need it like this to split it. So be very careful about using the gizmo and when you can use the screen to move it and cut it. Sometimes you will need to use this gizmo. Just a little practice will get you from no errors. So kind of show you here real quick. Select the ring and make a polymesh 3D. And if I was to do this for the IMM brush, it's not facing right. I want to flip this straight up because I'm going to cut on the red axis. So I'm just going to flip this around to the side here and activate the gizmo. And hold the shift key and drag it up. And you can see I want to cut it in half, and it's aligned right down the middle of the ring here. So I want to select half that, so I'm just going to hold the shift key, and now I can just use the screen to just snap that. Press move. We're going to use Stender, makes it a whole lot easier, so we're going to use that. Sip. Let's open this up. And we're going to go ahead and select half that here. Copy that. Find out which one we want. I'll just select something different here for right now. Mesh is on the right. Sometimes these buttons will appear to be backwards, but if you follow everything should go good. So everything worked out very well right there. I had paused the video again, and just a little recap here. When I turn this ring here and my gizmo, as you can see, the gizmo axis is different than the floor axis, so always want to keep an eye on the floor axis. We want to be cutting in the red x-axis, just as long as you're in the direction of that. It doesn't have to be directly in the middle, but you always want to keep the right side, which will be on the blue axis. Another thing is the tool that we're making for the insert mesh, you want the inverted one. If for some reason this makes both, to make it quick, really all you have to do is just use the extender on this right here, and that'll make a brush right there itself. Might not be what you want, but you want really the one that's inverted. Works a lot better. I'm going to show you another method. It is actually a lot quicker. Works for pretty much most of the IMM brushes, and not all, but some. So let me show you how this is done. So we'll go to brush here, and we'll select that screw again. Instead of dragging out on it, we're going to hold the Alt key, and we're going to drag out, and we're going to press number 1, split. This time we're dragging it to the front, not the back. Get it where I want it. Number 2, Control Shift click it again. We're going to copy it, and we're going to select one of these buttons over here. As you can see here, this one is inverted. This is the one that I said this is the one you want, but since I alt click this and invert it, I'm not going to be using this one here. This won't work right, so select here. This is the one I want this time. As you see, the mesh on the right is edited and the flex on the left, so we want to weld to the right. And this time, since we had sliced it from the front, I'm going to leave the blue axis facing towards me. We're going to create a brush. Test it out. Okay, this time I'm not holding the Alt key, so I will drag out, and then I will split it. When I drag out like this, you can see right there. Now, since this is an inverted mesh, and let's see here, see that one doesn't work correctly. Go back to the other one that I made. Take a second to update. There it goes. Now if I switch to another brush, here might be a slight little problem. So we're going to switch to another brush. Since the mesh was inverted and I click out like this is what's going to happen. It's going to look a little funny there because the whole thing's inverted. Control Z that. What we want to do is go ahead and press number 2 to make a Boolean mesh. And if we drag out on it now, then that won't happen. Alright, this is the script I've been using. If I scroll up, it'll say large, alright, and who it's made by. And I go Lightbox, and I select the small, double click. Looks like the same thing. Scroll up, and it'll say half, alright. This will let you know what script you're in. And I'll show you the difference in two. Got a cube out here. We're going to just recap this, how to do this real quick. Shift key. Then we're going to step 1, split. All right. Then we need to push to the back side, always to the back side. All right, let's turn on transparency. And once we're done there, step 2. Part of this mesh, invert it, we're going to copy it, step 3, and we're going to select one of these. Alright, both sides. All right. The difference the two in the two script is this one makes the length shorter. Okay, that's how far it can insert. Okay, it's not as deep as the first script because the other script it had a longer cylinder here. But with this one here, it's short, and you can always make this longer, but you can't make it shorter on this script or the other one. So how do we do that? We're just going to use the extender. So, and when I drag on this, drag it out, I will hold the shift key, and it gives me increments at the bottom of the screen. Goes to 0.9, then 1. I forgot where it stopped at, but anyway, I think it was 1. And if I do another mesh and try edit it, I will always know to go ahead and stretch it out to that far. Okay, that's how that works. So this is kind of a preference if you want to use the large or the small script. In the zip file below the video, I do have a link to my website if you want to check it out. Thank you.